Welcome, chosen ones. So I wanted to get on today and share with you a spiritual download I've been having this morning. And this is really coming back to some of the essentials that I've laid out before on this channel. And these are critical. If you are going to live the life of your dreams, if you are going to be the person God called you to be, then it's my belief that this is essential. And what is this? What am I talking about? Well, if you haven't already had this, or maybe you've had it before, but you've fell off of it, it's very essential to do this one thing. And what is this one thing? This is to shift your frequency onto the positive. Lord knows there are plenty of negative people out there. There are plenty of negative frequencies out there. And in today's times, there are more negative people probably than ever in the history of the world. I'd say especially the last 15 years, there has been a downturn into negativity. If you are going to live the life that you really want to live, it's virtually impossible to do that if you are in a negative vibration. This may sound cliche, it may sound like it's too simple, but it's really not. When you shift your frequency, you're literally in a different reality. And this is not about ignoring everything going on in the world. It's not about just turning away from it all the time. Sometimes you do have to face negative things going on. Sometimes you do have to face these realities, but it depends on where you face it from. If you are immersed in the negativity and you let that affect your emotions and you let that pull you downward, you are going to end up in a different frequency, having a different experience than someone who is in a positive frequency. So you need to make this conscious choice first off. Are you going to live in a negative frequency or in a positive frequency? Now, I will say that this always isn't easy. Sometimes if you've been coding your reality through negative words, through thought loops that are negative your whole life, this is going to take some work to pull yourself out of it. But you can do it almost instantly if you do these techniques that I'm going to be talking about. Living in a positive frequency is a completely different reality than a negative reality. When you're in a positive frequency, you start seeing opportunities. You start seeing what can be, what will be, what already is. You start being grateful for what you already have. You start seeing things as becoming, things as growing. You start seeing the seeds being planted of positivity. You start seeing things blooming and being part of this unfoldment. Whereas if you're in a negative frequency, you basically see the opposite. You start seeing things diminishing. You start seeing things dwindling. You start seeing the withering away. You start seeing limitations of what could be. It's a completely different paradigm. You have to make this conscious choice, chosen ones, because if you're listening to this, God may have called you to be a chosen one. He may have called you to be an uplifter. He may have called you to be a light worker or a beacon of light. And despite all the negativity around you, you are the transformer. You take in all the reality and you transform it into something positive. And as I mentioned, this always isn't easy. So in this video, I really want to lay out some factors about this. The first one is just realizing this is going on, realizing that we are up against, you could say, loads of negativity and loads of darkness, especially in today's times. Many people do not even think these days. They simply just react. They take in whatever's given to them from the outside world and they just spit it back out as if that's the ultimate reality. They don't realize that they are being played a lot of the time, that they are being enveloped by hypnotic rhythm of negativity. Sometimes this is propaganda. Sometimes this is just what's in front of their face. And so they take it at face value and they believe that this is the ultimate reality. In the ultimate reality, we know that there are a vast number of different realities. And it really just depends on what we choose to focus on at that particular time. Right now, there are people who are getting married. There are people undergoing loads of business success. There are people buying new houses. There are people winning the lottery. There are people going on cruises. There are people going on vacations. There are people expanding and doing all sorts of wonderful things, new relationships, exciting experiences. All of that is going on right now. But simultaneously, we have the opposite. There are people who are being diagnosed with conditions. There are people who are going through divorces. There are people who are losing their houses. There are people who are drifting further and further away from God. So we live in this ultimate reality where everything is going on simultaneously. You, as a conscious chooser who is gifted with the inherent gift of free will, this function that you have of being able to choose your reality, you have the opportunity to tap into different frequencies. And you can either tap into the good frequencies and stay on those frequencies, or you can let the world suck you in. And if you tap into Jesus's teachings, let's remember that he said that he has overcome the world. And he also refers to the God of this world as Satan. So when you overcome the world, when you overcome the material, the carnal, what you're essentially doing is tapping into the higher level order, the higher frequencies. You're tapping into God himself. You're tapping into creation. You're tapping into possibilities. You are becoming a builder of something great. And it's so magnificent if you can start sustaining yourself on these positive frequencies. Because Lord knows there are plenty of distractions, there are plenty of snares that can pull you away from God, that can pull you into frustration, into guilt, into shame, into anger, into anxiety. And all of these work towards one's detriment and not towards one's progression. So ask yourself this question: am I in a positive frequency or a negative frequency? It's really that simple. For the longest time, I was studying frequency and studying different vibrations and would try to pinpoint where exactly I was on a certain scale. And all of this can be beneficial, but what I've learned is that ultimately you're either on a positive or a negative frequency. It's that simple. You're either feeling bad about your life and you're having negative thought loops that are going and playing around in the brain and you're focusing on those, or you're doing the opposite. When you're in a positive frequency, you gain back control over your life. You're no longer ruled by the carnal. You tame the carnal. The higher level frequency, and this is why it's called higher level, is actually in control of the carnal. You're in control of the ego. Whereas lower level frequencies, they are ruled by the higher level frequencies. And this goes with business. It has to do with those who create wealth, those who are owners of companies. In order to be successful, in order to be a true, successful entrepreneur, you have to be a positive person. Now, no doubt there are those who are in charge that have taken power who are in sometimes lower level frequencies. But in general, those who are the creators, the initiators, the true entrepreneurs, the one who created the product, in general, these people are in high vibrational positive frequencies because it's impossible to create unless you are positive. One of the functions of a higher frequency is it is a creative frequency. It sees opportunity. It sees what can be. It adds something to someone's life. It doesn't take away. The lower level frequencies are basically all fighting for the scraps. They are those who they see the positive people and they become jealous. They start thinking, oh, these people must be taking away something that I should have. And so they see it as a complete piece of pie, and we must divvy up the piece of the pie, and you get yours and I get mine. It's kind of like this communist, Marxist type of thinking. Whereas a positive person sees an infinite amount of possibilities. They see that there are plenty of things to go around for you, plenty of things to go around for me, plenty of things for everyone, but in order for this to happen, one must shift into the positive frequency. They must shift their paradigm to where all possibilities exist. It's such a different world to live in. Those who are creators create value for other people. Those who are takers, they may be ruled by the positive frequency and they may essentially create value, but their own personal frequency is that of a taker. And so it is such a vastly different paradigm. So truly, if you want to be happy, if you want to exist in harmony, if you want to exist in love, and you want to be grateful every day for your life, it's essential to shift into a positive frequency. Now, here are a couple techniques to do this. One of them is to surround yourself with positive words. These can be books, these can be affirmations, these can be statements, they can be Bible verses. It's to surround yourself to where you're constantly reading these types of materials. And if you do this long enough, it will literally help to recode the brain to where you start thinking these thoughts. You start ingraining these in your subconscious to where you naturally start to verbalize them. Even if you're just talking them mentally, you'll start having these running through your mind, and these will help you raise your frequency. The other thing is being still and meditating and letting go. Okay, now this other practice, and I actually suggest this before you even do the other two, is do this. Just start taking an inventory of your thoughts. And when I was working on my psychology degree, we did an exercise where we walked around this lake. And after we walked around the lake, we had to write our thoughts down as we had them during the lake walk. We had to recall what thoughts were going through our mind. Many people out there, including myself sometimes, are not aware of our thoughts. If you start taking an inventory of what actual thoughts you're having, what you may find is that many of them are negative. You also may find that some of them are of a frustrating nature or a muddled nature where you just can't figure out the solution. And so once you start clarifying what's actually going through your mind, this will give you kind of a blueprint to work from where you can start recoding the mind of having more clear thinking thoughts, and you can substitute various phrases to fix, if you will, these thoughts that are not of a higher nature. Very, very powerful exercise is just to become aware of what's actually going through your mind. Okay, and then the final one is saying positive affirmations and Bible verses out loud. When you say things and you declare things with your voice, and you do it in a convictive manner, in a confident manner, what you'll find is it drowns out all the negativity in your mind. You'll start thinking more clearly. You'll start being more decisive. You'll start having visions of things you can do. You'll start attracting more ideas to your brain, to your physical vessel. And it's my belief that the higher level frequencies will be drawn to you as well. And in fact, I guarantee this happens. Once you declare that something is true by, let's say, reciting a Bible verse, those who are also in harmony with that positivity will start being drawn to you, kind of like one mind. This is one of the most powerful things you can do for yourself. But the action of saying it out loud, this is what really magnifies the good things. If you find yourself talking negative about others, if you find yourself just being frustrated about yourself, stop it. Stop the negativity. You may go neutral for a while and just kind of say what's on your mind, but really don't milk it for the juice. Don't milk it for the negativity, because if you do that, the negative vibes will start attracting more negative vibes, and it will be like this rolling monster. So stop yourself, be aware of what's going on, let it go, and then replace it with the positivity. Now, I'll say one final thing. If you really want to get on a good feeling frequency, figure it out. What is it that you really want to go after? What is it that you really envision yourself doing? What is it that you want in life? And write these things down. There's a really good book out there, and it's like 14 pages long, and it's called It Works. It's a little red book. It's called It Works. All it does is, in these 14 pages, is say, write down what you want in present tense and repeat it 3 times a day. Say it out loud. And what it is it's like planting a seed in the subconscious that will bloom. If you give it time, it will bloom. And what you'll find is you start doing actions toward making this thing manifest in your life. But you have to be patient, because plants need space, they need time, they need water, they need sunshine. So don't try to rush it. Don't get frustrated before the plant has blossomed, and be consistent on it. Keep giving it what it needs on a regular basis, and it will happen. Okay, y'all, I hope you enjoyed this. Again, shift onto the positive. Your life will get better and better. I guarantee it. You'll feel more and more happy. I also have more videos on this topic if you'd like more on this. I appreciate you tuning in, and I'll see you next time.